Navigating the Paradoxes of Real-Time Leadership. Abstract. This article examines the challenges of real-time leadership in today's fast-paced global business environment. Real-time leadership requires making decisions quickly, with imperfect information, adapting plans on the fly, and motivating teams amid uncertainty. However, human cognition and organizational structures often inhibit real-time agility. Cognitive biases, limited working memory, and dual processing systems make objective analysis difficult under pressure. Additionally, siloed functions, bureaucracy, and risk-averse cultures constrain flexibility and dynamism. The article explores these barriers and provides strategies for developing mental, structural, and compassionate capabilities to overcome them. It analyzes examples of effective and ineffective real-time leadership responses to COVID-19. The conclusion emphasizes that while real-time leadership will always pose difficulties, focused development in key areas can enhance adaptability during crises. As organizations face increasing turbulence and uncertainty in a fast-paced, globalized business environment, real-time leadership has become essential. However, real-time leadership poses significant challenges that many leaders struggle with. Real-time leadership requires decisiveness, flexibility, and composure under pressure. Leaders must analyze situations quickly, make sound judgments with imperfect information, adapt plans in motion, and motivate others during uncertainty. However, human cognition, organizational structures, and cultural habits often work against real-time agility. Today, we will examine some of the fundamental reasons why real-time leadership is difficult through a review of relevant leadership literature and models. What is real-time leadership? Real-time leadership refers to the ability to think strategically and take appropriate action under conditions of uncertainty, time pressure, and incomplete information. It involves sensing change, assessing situations quickly, adapting existing strategies and structures fluidly as events unfold, communicating clearly in high-pressure moments, motivating others through ambiguity, and driving organizational agility. Characteristics of real-time leadership include making high-stakes decisions with imperfect information and tight deadlines, balancing analysis and action during fluid, dynamic situations, rapidly adapting pre-existing strategies and structures in response to emergent challenges and opportunities, communicating confidently and compassionately during uncertainty to reassure others, inspiring team coordination and resilience through ambiguity. Real-time leadership contrasts with more deliberate, premeditated modes of leading that have the luxury of time for extensive planning, testing of options, and minimizing risk. Today's volatile business climate forces many organizations to operate more in real time, necessitating this adaptive style of guiding others through unpredictability with agility, wisdom, and care. Why real-time leadership is difficult. Cognitive limitations. Research in psychology and neuroscience helps explain some of the core cognitive reasons why real-time leadership poses challenges. Some key factors include heuristics and biases. Humans rely on mental shortcuts and rules of thumb. Heuristics, to make quick judgments. But this can lead to predictable cognitive biases that impair objective analysis under pressure. Examples include anchoring bias, confirmation bias, and loss aversion. Dual processing systems. The brain has two thought processes. System 1 is fast, intuitive, and emotional, while System 2 is slower, deliberative, and logical. However, stress biases are functioning towards System 1's heightened emotions and snap judgments. Working memory limits. We can only consciously process around 4-7 unrelated items at once in our short-term working memory. High-pressure situations overload this limited capacity, impairing comprehension and decision-making. Framing affects how problems or options are presented, affects our risk perception and choices. Real-time framing during crises influences cognition and decisions in potentially suboptimal ways. While experience and training can help develop workarounds, these inherent cognitive tendencies make objective, comprehensive analysis challenging under the time pressures and elevated stress of real-time leadership situations. Quick decisions often rely more on intuition than deliberation. Why real-time leadership is difficult. Organizational structure barriers. Beyond individual human cognition, organizational structures and cultural habits can also constrain real-time agility. Functional silos, traditional departments organized around specialization, lack natural coordination and sharing of information across boundaries. This hampers comprehensive sensing and joint problem-solving. Bureaucracy, complex rules, strict hierarchies, and layered decision rights were designed for stability, not dynamism. Bureaucratic procedures can slow response times and flexibility. Planning mindset. Many firms rely on detailed strategic planning, but this is ineffective for uncertain, fast-changing environments. Preset plans constrain adaptation and exploring new options. Risk-averse organizational cultures that value stability, predictability, and avoiding mistakes can discourage real-time experimentation and prudent risk-taking needed for agility. Reward systems, performance metrics, and incentive structures often prioritize short-term outputs over capabilities like collaboration, adaptability, and resilience, which are crucial for real-time leadership. Overcoming structural roadblocks requires significant cultural shifts, which means real-time leadership itself is challenged, even getting an organization poised for dynamism. This creates a catch-22 paradox of rigidity, inhibiting the changes needed for agility. Practical strategies for real-time leadership. While the difficulties of real-time leadership are substantial given human and institutional barriers, focused development in key areas can help optimize performance when it matters most. The following strategies have proven effective. Cultivate mental agility. Practice scenario planning to develop different strategic options in advance. Train intuition through varied experience, handling ambiguous, complex problems. Develop pattern recognition abilities to link disparate information. Practice mindfulness techniques to manage stress responses and bias awareness. Build organizational agility. Reform silos by cross-functional project teams and breaking down walls. Shift to lean, adaptable structures over rigid hierarchies and bureaucracy. Institutionalize rapid experimentation and risk comfortable decision rights. Incentivize behaviors like collaboration, learning, and resilience. Foster startup-inspired cultures open to failure and new opportunities. Communicate with compassion. Explain context and rationale for complex decisions to build understanding. Show vulnerability and invite feedback to cultivate trust in unpredictability. Inspire confidence through stories emphasizing perseverance amid challenges. Provide compassionate support and recognition to boost morale in turbulence. Case study: real-time leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic provided many vivid examples of both effective and ineffective real-time leadership across industries and societies. Here are two contrasting cases. Case 1: Southwest Airlines. When travel demand collapsed overnight in March 2020, Southwest Airlines rapidly mobilized cross-functional teams to respond with creativity and care. Leaders communicated transparency around challenges while emphasizing the enduring strengths of Southwest's flexible point-to-point model and caring culture. Through company-wide collaboration, Southwest preserved liquidity by grounding half their fleet and reducing pay/schedules with employee support. Real-time scenario planning helped restart routes safely as demand returned sooner than expected. By focusing on continual adaptability, employee well-being, and re-earning customer trust instead of panic. Southwest emerged stronger. Case 2. Federal government's initial response. In contrast, the initial government response suffered from bureaucratic delays and an absence of coordinated, compassionate, real-time leadership. Strategic planning had not envisaged a global pandemic scenario. Under pressure, cognitive biases like groupthink emerged, while trust eroded due to ambiguous, shifting communications. Strict departmental silos and procedural mindsets slowed the delivery of critical medical supplies and testing. Missed opportunities included not invoking emergency production powers sooner to counter shortages in personal protective equipment, PPE tests, and ventilators. Valuable time was lost as agencies independently reacted instead of collaborating to mobilize national resources with focused, empathetic guidance. These case studies highlight both the challenges inherent to real-time crisis management, as well as how dedicated cultivation of mental, structural, and compassionate leadership abilities can either exacerbate or help overcome those difficulties. Conclusion: in a world of accelerating change, volatility, and interconnectivity, real-time leadership will only grow in strategic importance across societies and organizations. While cognitively hardwired tendencies and legacy structures present substantial barriers, focused development in targeted areas can enhance situational adaptability under pressure. Leaders who invest in cultivating mental agility, building organizational flexibility, and communicating with empathy will be better equipped to inspire collective resilience through uncertainty. While real-time leadership will likely always pose difficulties given human fallibility, a studied understanding of both its challenges and solutions equips those in positions of responsibility to lead others as wisely as possible into an unpredictable future.